who fight for their country are being failed by the government, according to a report out this morning.
The Centre for Social Justice says that more must be done to support veterans who struggle to rebuild their lives after leaving the forces. Well, Daniel Smith was one of the youngest soldiers to be awarded the George Medal for bravery in Iraq. 10 years later, he's suffering from post-traumatic stress and is sleeping in his car.
When I got medical discharge from the army, I got blown up twice. That's when it all came ahead, really. That's when I started suffering. I had a couple of blips where I was driving and a couple of flashbacks came in where I couldn't drive any further and it was pretty risky. I was still going through my own demons at the time, but obviously keeping it all shut in. I was drinking a lot more. My marriage is broke down now. I'm not working at the minute, obviously just through my reasons, really. I can't keep a job down. I am living in my car. I think just to be on my own, really. I think it's just more the fact of not bothering anyone then, do you know what I mean? I'm a nightmare to be around with, if you know what I mean.
Well, Daniel's here now, along with his dad, Gary, and Conservative MP Johnny Mercer, who's also a former soldier himself. Welcome to you all. This is a really sad story for anyone to take in. You're a George Medal winner, one of the most heroic, brave soldiers that we've had for years, and yet you're now reduced to living in your car on several days of the week. How has it come to this? I think it's just...
I'm more of a nuisance being with people, if you know what I mean. I get irritated quite easy, so I think being in my car has just been a better option for me to be away from everyone.
Remind me why you got your medal.
It's obviously when I was in Iraq, obviously, saving lives with two buddies. I got blown up twice in a matter of a week.
Your convoy was attacked,
yeah.
Right? With landmines or...?
It's an ID.
ID, right.
ID at the time. Yeah.
And it happened twice in a week.
Yeah.
Both times you went to tried to save your colleagues,
yeah.
And for that heroism, you got the George Medal. Do you think enough is being done when soldiers like you come back from these incredibly traumatic things? And my brother's served 2 tours of Iraq and Afghanistan. He talked about many soldiers suffering real stress disorders afterwards, understandably. Is enough done when you come back to normal life?
When I was in the army, I got the help. Obviously, I was seeing 3 times a week, maybe more. I think it was when I came out, I didn't get any help at all. I got offered it, but I didn't get it at all. So that's when it left a bit. I think a year later, I was doing another charity, and they helped me out for 6 months after. And now it's stopped at the minute, so I'm back at a rut. We
talked to your dad here. You've seen what's happened to your boy. You must have been so proud of him when he was serving, so proud when he won the medal. How do you feel about what's happened to him?
It's sad in the way that he's been let down, really. And there's so much that can be done. There's so much resources that's put in. I just think it's the coordination of those resources and how it's managed that is the big problem.
So looking at some of the recommendations of the report to see if they would have helped you, for instance, they want a new programme of research into the mental health of service people, doing what you said, really trying to put it all together. Also, mental health first aid training, which sounds like an odd phrase, but it's training people within the armed forces to spot the signs when people are going through this at a critical first stage, and also working with spouses to prepare them for the return, because this affected your relationship, didn't it? Dramatically. It's broken down now. For both of you, does that sound like the sort of thing that would have helped at a critical time? Yeah,
because obviously when it happened to me, there was no kind of help there as such, if you know what I mean. Obviously now it's full on now. But yeah, I think that would be a better option. Yeah.
Let me bring in you, Johnny Mercer. You were a serving commando. You became an MP specifically, actually, to help people like in this situation. How big a problem is this? And do we really understand the nature of the problem?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we're at a really critical phase with this. I think that, you know, with the drawdown of operations in Afghanistan, this is only going to drift further from the public's mind. And I think, you know, we really have a duty to these people to look after them. I think there are brilliant service providers out there, but that coordination to bring it all together, to ensure a sort of single point of contact, a common needs assessment, a care pathway, someone who's going to take responsibility and, you know, and draw people through the care pathway to get them to a better place to,
and why
you know, as they deserve.
Happening? Is it because it's not clear who is in charge, or is it because people just think, oh, we've done our bit, and hand them over?
Why it's not happening at the moment? I mean, there is, you know, veterans' care was extremely poor, and we have to be fair to this government. This Prime Minister and this Chancellor have done more than any before them, but it's a question of bringing it all together. There's some brilliant courses, some brilliant service providers, but the trouble is, if you put yourself in that position coming out of the army 3 or 4 years out and you start hitting problems, where do you go? How do you access that care? How do you know that care that you're going to get is you know, based on evidence, or there's a complaint structure there, or it's done professionally? You know, these are people that have served their country. We have a duty to ensure that care. I'm not saying provide it, but ensure that care.
I mean, I feel
do that.
incensed, really, when I hear that a George Medal winner serving his country in Iraq is living in a car several days of the week. That really angers me, that no one has said this is unacceptable.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, for me, it led me to leave the army and be an MP, because I feel that, you know, there is a serious problem here. I think we have come a long way, absolutely, but it's something historically in this country we just haven't done very well. I don't know if it's not particularly glamorous, or, you know, it doesn't matter to a lot of people, but the truth is, you know, we have to look after these blokes. We've asked them to go and do a job, and this is the problem with having wars that are so far away and so dislocated. I remember going through the system myself, and you'd be fighting in Nadi Ali or wherever it may be, and then 6 hours later you'd be back in Birmingham. People don't know anything about the war, and it's absolutely understandable, but the government who you know, on whose behalf we're acting, I think does have a duty to ensure that care, and we just, you know, only needs a little bit of work, I think, to make sure that people aren't falling through the gaps.
Well, Daniel, look, thank you for your service to the country and for the extraordinary gallantry you showed, and I wish you all the very best. I don't want you living in a car. This is not how we should be treating people like you who come home from such difficult situations as a war zone, and I really, thanks to Johnny and others who are campaigning for you,